What does it take to become the greatest of all time? Is it just raw, natural talent? Is it obsessive dedication? Or is it something more? A willingness to defy the impossible? For one small boy from Rosario, Argentina, a boy told he was too small to play, a boy whose dreams should have been shattered by a medical diagnosis, the answer would change football history forever. This is the story of how a contract hastily written on a napkin launched the career of a legend. In the bustling city of Rosario, Argentina, a boy named Lionel Andres Messi was born on June 24, 1987, to a factory worker, Jorge, and a part-time cleaner, Celia. He grew up in a close, football-obsessed family with two older brothers, Rodrigo and Matias, and a sister, Maria Sol. From the moment he could walk, a ball was practically attached to his foot. His grandmother, Celia, was his biggest fan, the one who saw the spark in him before anyone else. He was a shy, quiet kid, and always smaller than the other children. But on the dusty football pitches of his neighborhood, he was a different person entirely. He was a tiny marvel, with the ball glued to his feet as he weaved through bigger, older kids. At just 4 years old, he joined his first local club, Grandoli, coached by his own father. His talent wasn't just a whisper, it was a roar that quickly spread across the city. Soon, he joined the youth team for his beloved Newell's Old Boys, where he was already scoring goals by the hundred. He was a prodigy, but a shadow loomed over his future. He simply wasn't growing at the same rate as his teammates, and the size difference became more and more obvious. At age 11, after a year of tests, the Messi family got the devastating news. Lionel was diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency, or GHD. This condition meant his body couldn't produce enough hormones to grow properly. Without treatment, doctors worried he might not get any taller than 4 feet 7 inches. It was a verdict that should have ended his dream before it ever began. The treatment was out there, but it was brutal and expensive. It meant daily, painful injections of human growth hormone, a needle he'd have to stick into his own legs every single night for years. The cost was crushing for his working-class family, around $900 a month, a fortune they just didn't have. They turned to the football world for help, but even with his obvious talent, one club after another, including the famous Argentinian club River Plate and even his own Newell's Old Boys, said no. He was too small, too risky, too expensive. The dream was slipping away, but the Messi family refused to give up. Jorge and Celia made a desperate choice, fueled by an unbreakable belief in their son. They decided to leave everything behind, their home, their jobs, their country, for one last shot at a cure and a chance for their son to play the game he loved. Their destination, Barcelona, Spain. In late 2000, the Messi family flew to Barcelona, betting it all on a trial with the world-famous club. At just 13 years old and standing only 4 feet 2 inches tall, Lionel stepped onto the pitch for the first time with players who were years older and much bigger. The coach's initial doubts quickly melted into pure disbelief. The other academy players, including a young Gerard Piqué, later admitted they'd nearly written the tiny kid off before he'd even touched a ball. Then he did, and the doubts vanished. It only took 5 minutes for FC Barcelona's first team director, Carles Rexach, to see what everyone else had missed. He knew he was looking at a once-in-a-generation talent and wanted to sign him on the spot. But the club's board hesitated. Signing a 13-year-old foreign player was practically unheard of, especially one who needed costly medical treatments. As negotiations dragged on, Messi's father, Jorge, grew frustrated and threatened to take his son back to Argentina, where rival club Real Madrid was reportedly waiting. Fearing he'd lose the discovery of a lifetime, Rexach knew he had to act. On December 14, 2000, during a lunch meeting at a tennis club, he made a move that has become the stuff of football legend. With no official paper around, he grabbed a napkin from the waiter. In hurried blue ink, he scribbled down a promise, a binding agreement that would alter football history. The napkin read, "In Barcelona, on 14th December 2000, and in the presence of Messrs. Minguella and Horacio, Carles Rexach, FC, Barcelona's sporting director, hereby agrees, under his responsibility and regardless of any dissenting opinions, to sign the player Lionel Messi, provided that we keep to the amounts agreed upon." It was an incredible act of faith. That simple napkin, later sold at auction for nearly $1 million, became the most important contract in Barcelona's history. The club kept its promise, paying for Messi's growth hormone treatment and welcoming him into its famed youth academy, La Masia. For the first time, the family could breathe. Lionel could just focus on his health and his football. And he didn't just play, he dominated. He flew through the youth ranks at a dizzying speed. His small stature, once seen as a crippling weakness, became his greatest strength. It gave him an impossibly low center of gravity, letting him twist, turn, and explode in ways defenders had never seen. They nicknamed him La Pulga, the flea, for his relentless, buzzing energy. On October the 16th, 2004, a new era began. At just 17 years old, Lionel Messi made his competitive debut for Barcelona's first team. The world was about to meet its new king. The early years were a highlight reel of jaw-dropping moments, but it was under coach Pep Guardiola in the 2008-09 season that Messi truly took his throne. At 22, he was the star of a team that won the first ever treble in Spanish football history: La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the UEFA Champions League. That year, he won his first Ballon d'Or as the world's best player. It was the first of 4 in a row, a streak that had never been seen before. What came next wasn't just dominance, it was a complete redefinition of football. He became a living, breathing cheat code. The 2011-12 season saw him score an unbelievable 73 goals in all competitions. In the 2012 calendar year, he scored 91 official goals, a number so absurd it was certified as a Guinness World Record. He wasn't just a scorer, he was a creator, a conductor, the heart of the greatest football team the world had ever seen. By the time he became captain in 2018, he was already a myth. He won a record 6th Ballon d'Or in 2019. When he was forced to leave the club in 2021, his legacy was set in stone. In 17 seasons, he'd won an incredible 34 trophies with Barcelona, including 10 La Liga titles and 4 UEFA Champions League crowns. He left as the club's all-time top scorer with 672 goals and the owner of countless records that might just last forever. The boy who was too small had become the biggest player the club had ever known. For all his godlike status at Barcelona, one great challenge remained. With his home country, Argentina, glory always seemed just out of reach. For years, the story was one of agonizing heartbreak. He led his nation to 3 straight major finals: the 2014 World Cup, the 2015 Copa America, and the 2016 Copa America Centenario. Each time, they lost. The weight of a nation's hopes was on his shoulders, and the criticism was brutal. Some even dared to question his passion for the jersey. The pain of the 2016 final was too much. In a moment of raw emotion, he announced his retirement from international football. The world was stunned, but Argentina wouldn't let him go. The people, the press, even the country's president begged him to come back. He couldn't say no. He returned. And then finally came redemption. In 2021, he lifted his first major international trophy, captaining Argentina to a Copa America victory. They beat their arch-rivals, Brazil, in Brazil's own legendary Maracanã Stadium. The 28-year trophy drought was over. The image of a tearful Messi being thrown into the air by his teammates was proof of a burden finally lifted. That win helped him secure a record extending 7th Ballon d'Or. But the ultimate prize, the one that haunted him since 2014, was still out there: the FIFA World Cup. In the winter of 2022, at 35 years old, he arrived in Qatar for what he knew was his last dance. The tournament started with a shocking disaster, a loss to Saudi Arabia. The pressure was suffocating. His family in the stands agonized over every second. Messi later said his son, Mateo, left that first match in tears. But his oldest son, Thiago, did the math and told him if they won all their remaining games, they could still be champions. From that moment on, Messi was a man possessed. He carried his team through one nail-biter after another. He scored, he assisted, he led. He dragged them to the final against the reigning champions, France. In what many call the greatest football match ever played, Messi was magnificent. He scored 2 goals in a thrilling 3-3 draw that went to a penalty shootout. He calmly stepped up and buried the first penalty, setting the tone for victory. When the final kick went in, the world erupted. Lionel Messi had done it. He had led Argentina to its first World Cup in 36 years. Lifting that golden trophy, he hadn't just won a tournament, he had completed football. He was awarded the Golden Ball for the tournament's best player, becoming the first man in history to win it twice. The last argument against his greatness was gone forever. His club journey took a dramatic turn too. In the summer of 2021, Barcelona's financial crisis meant they couldn't afford to keep him. In a tearful farewell, he left the only club he'd ever called home and signed with Paris Saint-Germain. He won 2 league titles in France, but his heart was never really in it. Then, in the summer of 2023, he shocked the world again. Turning down massive offers from Saudi Arabia, he chose a new adventure. He joined Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. Many thought it was a quiet retirement tour. They were wrong. He instantly transformed the club, leading them to their first ever trophy, the 2023 Leagues Cup. His impact was immediate and undeniable. He defied age, guiding Inter Miami to its first ever MLS Cup in 2025 and winning back-to-back league MVP awards in 2024 and 2025. His greatness had crossed continents, proving that it knows no borders. He settled in Miami with his childhood sweetheart and wife, Antonella, and their 3 sons, Tiago, Mateo, and Ciro. He embraced a new life and a new culture, but he remained the same humble man from Rosario, now a global icon loved by millions. So, what does it take to be the greatest of all time? It takes the talent of a genius, the heart of a lion, and the resilience to look impossible odds in the face and never back down. From the small, fragile boy who needed daily injections just to grow, to the undisputed king of world football, Lionel Messi's story is the ultimate proof of what dreams, sacrifice, and unwavering belief can achieve. He has over 890 career goals, more than 400 assists, a record 8 Ballon d'Or awards, and more trophies than any player in history. But his legacy is so much more than numbers. It's in the joy he's given to billions of fans. It's in the inspiration he gives to every kid who's ever been told they're too small, too weak, or just not good enough. It is the story of a working-class boy from Rosario who, with the love of his family and a promise on a napkin, conquered the world. Messi's story is one for the ages, and if you were inspired by his journey, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more incredible stories from the world of football. And let us know in the comments, what is Lionel Messi's single greatest moment for you?